As the actual son of a preacher man, it's hardly a surprise journalist Tim Alberta has a personal take on the growing intersection of faith and politics. He's talking with our Robert Costa.
Pretty amazing.
Goodwill Church in New York's leafy Hudson Valley is a special destination for the Atlantic's Tim Alberta.
There's something so deeply familiar about this place. It's hard to describe.
This is where his family's faith journey began.
You know, my parents always described this church as holy ground for our family.
Tim's father, Richard Alberta, was once a pastor on this pulpit after becoming a born-again Christian here nearly 50 years ago.
I don't know where he sat. I don't know what the sermon was that day, but something happened. A guy who'd been an atheist for years, decided that he was going to give his life to Jesus.
Now that's you in Sunday school class out here at Cornerstone.
The Alberta family later moved to Michigan, where Tim's father led Cornerstone Evangelical Presbyterian Church.
Your life was Cornerstone.
My life was completely wrapped up in the church. It was the sun around which we as a family revolved. It was our whole world.
But Tim Alberta sought a career in journalism, writing about politics. His father urged him to stay grounded, including in a 2019 chat he'll never forget.
He keeps saying to me, don't spend your whole career around these people. There are so many other stories. And that was one of the last conversations we had.
Days later, Tim's dad suddenly died.
When I come home to my church, I'm expecting, I guess, something different from what I got.
While some offered consolation, Alberta also got confrontation from some conservative church members, objecting to his reporting on then-President Donald Trump.
A lot of folks right there at the viewing, they wanted to argue about politics. They wanted to know if I was still a Christian. And my dad's in a box, like 100 feet away.
The church wasn't a sanctuary from politics. Politics was now part of the church.
That's right. I knew that to some degree. And in fact, I willfully ignored it.
Alberta's reckoning with faith and politics is the basis for his new book, The Kingdom, the Power, and the Glory, which documents what he calls an age of extremism for evangelicals.
There was a real crisis in the American church, specifically a crisis in the white evangelical church.
About a quarter of American adults identify as evangelical, and as the Republican presidential race heats up, nearly 70% of white evangelicals are supportive of Trump. Alberta says that reflects a shift away from norms in the GOP and in the church.
We should think about the American church almost in parallel to American politics. When it gains enough influence, when it gains enough power, the fringe can overtake the mainstream. And that's what we've seen happen in the church.
The convulsions in today's churches come after decades of evangelicals gaining influence.
Do you love God? Do you love Him with all your heart, with all your soul?
From Billy Graham's stadium crusades to the stadium rallies of Donald Trump.
Great. But we have our Christian conservatives for Trump today, and they're in the room. Let's go.
In recent years, evangelicals have had debates over the response to COVID and to Trump, all while many key Republicans count themselves as one of them.
What do people say about politics?
That's bad, that's dirty.
What do they say to you about politics?
Don't get involved.
Back at Goodwill Church, senior pastor John Torres, who used to work with Tim's dad, is uneasy about the shadow of politics over his church and others.
I don't want somebody who's sitting there listening to me preach, whatever their views are. I want them to stay put. I want to talk to them about Jesus. I don't want to talk to them about politics. Because I don't really know what I can offer them in terms of politics.
Other evangelicals don't mind politics and see this moment as an affirmation of hard-won power.
What do you say to evangelical leaders who might hear your argument and say, you missed the point? Trump wins for evangelical Christians. He wins for conservative
Wins
America.
what?
Supreme Court seats, a seat at the table at the White House.
Show me where in Scripture any of that matters.
But it does matter to many of those standing with Trump as he once again seeks the White House.
You had millions of evangelical Christians who voted for Donald Trump and just sort of gleefully embraced his terrible rhetoric and his un-Christ-like conduct.
Why did they gleefully embrace it, to use your term?
Power. Trump campaigned for president in 2016, promising that if he was elected, Christians would have power. And he gave it to them. He gave it to them in ways that arguably no American president has in modern history. And when you have power, you can very quickly lose sight of your principles, your values, even your beliefs.
How's your faith?
You know, honestly, it's never been better.
Tim Alberta's faith in reporting is also strong, and he says that is his own calling.
You and I, we're reporters.
That's right.
We're not supposed to be the story. I never wanted to be the story. Once you see this, you can't look away.